In this one, I'm going to be installing the Rapid Bike Evo fuel module on my 2023 Triumph Street Triple 765 RS. The first thing to do is to pop off the rear seat cowl, then the seat, then disconnect the battery, then remove the battery itself. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the bolt to the tank, then the steel insert, then the two bolts securing the tank to the front of the frame. On the inside of the fairing, you just got to press the inside of these little plastic tabs and they'll allow them to release. Then you can remove them. Now to remove the side cowls, you've got to pull the side cowl out towards you at the front, then push it forwards. Now with the side cowl off, you can remove the two bolts that secure the tank onto the rest of the plastic cowling. Then disconnecting your indicators. Now what I'm doing is just using an oil container to prop up the tank while I disconnect the hoses and connectors that run to the tank. Now to remove the tank itself. So anyone wanting to know how the connector for your fuel line runs, you just pull this tab back. You see it moves back forward. So you pull the tab back and then push those two buttons in and it can pop straight off. Alrighty, moving on to the airbox. First thing to do is to remove the ECU from the rear of the airbox. Then these two connectors that go on top of the airbox. I actually have no idea what they're for. And also that vent line that runs to one of those connectors. And now you can remove all the bolts that secure the lid to the airbox. Once they're removed, pop off the lid and flip it over because there's another connector under there. Again, I have no idea what this connector is for, but you can remove it. So the lid of the airbox can be removed. Then remove your air filter. And now just taking out the rest of the bolts that secure the velocity stacks into the airbox that also mounts the airbox onto the throttle body. And there's just one bolt at the very front of the airbox here. Once you've taken all them out, you'll see that your airbox is still connected, and that's just with two vent hoses on either side of the airbox. So go ahead and remove them. Now with those vents removed, you can take your airbox off your throttle body, and with that removed, I can go ahead and install the Rapid Bike Evo fuel module. Alright, now it's time to install this massive wiring loom. I'm going to start off with the fuel injectors. As per the instructions, injector 1 goes to the cylinder on the left hand side, injector 2 in the center, and injector 3 on the right hand side. So injector 1 to your wiring loom, and the other one goes directly onto the injector. And just repeating the process with number 2 next, then number 3. Now with the injector plugs connected, I can go ahead and do my throttle position sensor, and what you want to do is just strip the end of the green wire labeled TPS, then connect a posi-tap resistor that comes supplied in the kit. And sorry that the camera is extremely blurry, I couldn't get it to focus. And what you're going to do is disconnect your throttle position sensor plug, strip back some of that electrical tape that's covering the wiring, and what you want to do with the posi-tap connector is connect the green wire onto your pink wire. Now you can reconnect the throttle position sensor, and what you can see here is I've connected the wiring for the throttle position sensor and the fuel injectors onto my fuel rail just using some zip ties. So the next wire to disconnect is this 2-pin wire here. That is your crank position sensor wire, and it is a blue and violet wire and a blue and black wire, and it's also extremely difficult to get to. But just with a bit of fiddling around, I was able to disconnect that crank position sensor, and now all you have to do is connect it to your Rapid Bike fuel module wiring loom. And that is most of it done. Now the only wire to run is my O2 sensor wires that run to your factory O2 sensor and wiring loom. So here you can see I've already connected it, and I've ran some tape over the exposed wiring as I didn't like the look of the exposed wiring. It was a little bit of an eyesore. So now connecting it to the Rapid Bike sensor, and now to secure it in place so it doesn't rattle all around. Alrighty, so I want to install my Rapid Bike module just in the tail here like so, as there's plenty of room for it. So what I'm going to do is just loosen off this subframe to run this wiring underneath and through to it, as there is no room to run the wiring under there at the moment. So now just removing all the bolts that secure the plastic cowling onto the rear subframe. So I'm going to lift that up. And with it all buttoned back up, you'll see that there's a few connectors remaining. You don't need to plug these into any of your factory wiring, as they're aftermarket auxiliary connectors. So the beautiful thing with the Rapid Bike Evo fuel module is that it is a piggyback system to your factory ECU, and what it does is operates off your O2 sensor reading, your crank position sensor reading, your throttle position sensor reading, and your injector readings to get the correct air fuel ratio to suit whatever mods that you're running on your bike. So if you're running an aftermarket exhaust system and you're running an aftermarket air cleaner, the bike is going to auto tune to suit those new mods. Whereas if you went with a dyno tune, that's a program map on your ECU that is only going to suit the mods that the bike was running when it was tuned. Whereas with the Rapid Bike Evo system, if you decide on changing your exhaust, your air filter, and adding other mods, or deleting your air injection system, the Rapid Bike module is going to auto calibrate to get the correct air fuel ratio as per the mods that you're running on your bike. Before I whack the seat back on and the side cowls to the tank, I'm going to start the bike up and make sure it runs. So when you disconnect your battery, you're going to get this service light pop up, and that's not because you've installed the Rapid Bike Evo system. It's just it resets the date when you disconnect the battery, so it's reading that it needs a service. So to get rid of that, you press your home button and then toggle down to display setup, and then from there toggle down to date, and now you're going to want to reset your year. Now go to month, and then the day. So after that, then go back home, and you'll see your service light is now gone. But that's just a quick wrap on how to install the Rapid Bike Evo fuel module, and that's going to do it for this one. Thanks very much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!